Hello everyone and welcome to Aunty K's Tarot. So today I was out in Almonte, Ontario, which is one of the villages near us. And, we were at Curious and Kind for Cafe Day. And I took a walk down to Bay and Balm Apothecary. And my son got an arrowhead as a gift for one of their siblings and a pendulum board. And I got a little mini candle holder, just basic and simple. And I saw this tarot deck and I was like, oh, but I have tarot decks on my wish list and an order coming from, Make Playing Cards. And I have 3 review decks coming in. But I hadn't seen this deck. It looked pretty interesting. I've taken the plastic off inside and out. It says it's, a combination of Marseille and Playing Cards and RWS. And it is produced in Europe by AGM Urania. The booklet is by Lilo Schwartz. The cards are by Lorenzo Gaggiotti. And it looked interesting, and it got, I was like, oh man, I'm so interested. And so I was talking to the shop owner, and we took a look online to see a few of the cards, and I said, you know what, I think I'm interested. And also I might be reading tarot there in person in the future, so we discussed that as well. So we have a table of contents, which I always like. We have an introduction. So, the artist of this deck was fascinated by the symbols of the traditional Italian playing cards from a very young age. While playing games with family, he discovered not only the forever-changing possibilities of combination, but also a fascination for symbols themselves. And so, they were fascinated by this, I guess, and got into it. And then we have the Major Arcana, which has a description, a picture, and keywords key questions. So then in the suits, we have a title page for each suit that tells us a bit about that suit. Coins symbolize the value we place on all things, on nature, all beings, and all living things. Everything we can experience with the 5 sixth senses is valuable, earthly, and can therefore be sensually experienced. The earth is alluring and draws us again and again to the ground. It promises shape and stability. There goes my cat. Our role is to recognize our own worth, finding our own self-worth. Earth is both life and death. It brings us into the world and we return to it. The earth produces organic growth. And then we have a tiny bit about each card, which seems very placed on RWS. And then we have a little bit more for each of the courts. So this is nice. All right, let's get into these. So my cat keeps messing with the light. These are the backs. They are just gorgeous. Mm-hmm. So we have these key symbols. We have these hand symbols. It's gorgeous art. Look at that. All right. So these are shiny edges here. Gold edges are very nice. There's a lot of detail in the fabrics. It's very beautiful. I like these details, like the way this bird is done. That's a gorgeous hermit. The details in the hermit's cloak reminds me of playing card patterns. And I think that's what I liked in the bird and some of those details, which we've seen repeat a bit, is that you know, that diamond pattern makes me think of cards. Oh, look at the way they've done this pattern inside of. These are gorgeous. Look at that cat. You see that very light detail in the yellow in those diamonds. The cloak that Duff is wearing. Oh, this is beautiful. Those horses. I'm very aware of the weirdness of Judgment right now as I've been working on the Judgment card in my deck. This is a beautiful, like, all right, so I bought this knowing it was a pip deck that combined like Marseille and playing cards. And, oh, I think that's beautifully done. Well, I think these are beautiful, beautifully done combinations of playing cards and Marseille pips. There's our Page of Swords, our Knight, the Queen, oh, I like the way the King's done here. And then we have another Ace. Not sure what it says. I wonder if I can. Yeah. I have no idea what that says. Stockholm. Playing cards. As my light move, it's impacting how you're seeing the gold foil on here. So I think this deck is really beautiful. I'm going to class these people as ambiguous. The skin largely looks tan. The hair tends to be mostly black and red with some blonde. I'm going to class these as ambiguous. I do think this is a gorgeous deck. I will let folks know how I like using it, in what I end up thinking of it in those terms. But I think they're very gorgeous. So all the fours seem to have the keys in them. Let's the page and knights seem to switch between femme and masc bodies, which I also appreciate. It's a small touch, even though the queens and kings do seem to retain typical gender ideas. So that's a beautiful deck. That's a beautiful deck. I'm currently not disappointed, but I also know we'll see how I end up feeling about it as I read it. I think if everyone looked strongly white, I'd be really upset. I think ambiguous doesn't really cut the bill. And then at the same time, those of us of more ambiguous backgrounds, you know, often aren't seen or noticed if a deck focuses primarily on us. So we're going to see how it feels as I'm reading it. I think being a mixed race person, I will largely see these as fairly ambiguous. And most of my clients don't see the cards when I'm reading. We'll see how I feel. But my first thoughts and impressions is that it's a gorgeous deck with intense detail. That shuffles really nicely. that really does shuffle very nicely. They slide pretty nice.